This is a continuation of our trip to Amsterdam and some day trips we took in the summer of 2019, continuation. And this is showing you the central train station. And we had a lot of fun taking a trip on it, on one of the trains to The Hague, to Madurodam, which is part of The Hague. This is a beautiful train station, and we had a great time navigating our way to the right train to get to The Hague. The trains left exactly on time, and it made me realize how easy it is to take a train to anywhere in Holland for the day, and I'm sure just as easy to go to other countries nearby. Madurodam is a park, primarily for families and children on the outskirts of The Hague. And I hadn't realized why it was created. And George Maduro's family created this park to honor him. And he was a Dutch war hero in the Second World War. He was born in one of the Dutch colonies in the Americas, and he tried to resist the German occupation of Holland, and he devoted his life during the Second World War to trying to help Holland. He was from a Jewish family, and eventually the Germans discovered that he was Jewish, and he ended up dying in a concentration camp just a few months before the end of the war. But I think remarkably his family decided to honor him by creating this park, which is a scale model of many of Holland's most famous landscapes. So if you look carefully, you'll see the real life people seeing the buildings and the half-scale size of the buildings in the park. These are all famous landscapes and buildingscapes in Holland, and if you look, you'll see the people, the children and adults watching the buildings. As well as just famous architectural landscapes. I like the way they also included very modern aspects of Holland, like the wind turbines and the ships and the different modes of transportation like this. I hadn't planned on seeing the Rijksmuseum because I knew it was going to be very crowded, but when I read that they had the dollhouse miniature of the book I had been reading, I decided, gotta go. One fun thing about the museum is that the middle of it is a bike path, and it is heavily used by people just getting to and from other parts of the city that have nothing to do with the museum. But again, you better not get in their way or you will be crushed. The museum, I found the layout was very confusing, but certainly worth seeing. There are many glorious paintings and different things in the museum which I did not take pictures of, but my favorites were the cabinetry like this. And this, of course, was the dollhouse that was featured in the book, The Miniaturist, and was very crowded. Everyone wanted to see it, which made me feel good because I like the fact that so many people enjoyed reading the book. My favorite museum that we saw in Amsterdam was the Tropen Museum. I may not be pronouncing it right. Tropen Museum, maybe. And it is devoted to showcasing different cultures around the world. And you can see the intent on the mural there. And it wasn't as crowded as most of the other museums, which was very good. The museum is also in a beautiful building, and attached to it, that you can't really see here, but it's a big complex, and there's a large research institute that is devoted to cultural anthropology, and I could tell just by walking through it that it's a very important part of the intellectual center of Amsterdam. This is the central atrium space in the museum that I think is a beautiful space, and they lit very, very well. And one thing I wanted to say is that even though I enjoyed all the exhibits of the different cultures, they had something of Saudi Arabia, something of Suriname, as well as the Japanese exhibit I'll show. But it did make me realize that the ethnic group that I was most interested in seeing were the Dutch themselves, and I would hope that maybe in the past or in the future they would actually showcase their own culture, because I think they're a very interesting group of people. The exhibit that we were most interested in seeing was called Cool Japan. And I spent a year in college in Japan and have always been interested and admire the Japanese culture and people. So this was really one of the best museum exhibits I've ever seen. I think Stuart agrees with me. They did a wonderful job in showcasing current Japanese culture, but also the sense of the cool Japanese culture in the past as well. The rest of the slides that are on this video are all about the Japanese exhibit, and this of course is showcasing the fashion design of pop fashion culture that has always been a big part of what people are interested in modern Japanese culture. This was a great section of the exhibit about different film clips, anime, and different recent videos that are produced in Japan, and some of the associated objects. You can see Pikachu there and other things that I'm not familiar with, but I'm sure younger people would be. And it was a great, fun exhibit to watch. This, of course, is a older painting tradition in Japanese art history, but they did link the sense of animation and design, how it relates to current anime, which was very interesting and was very educational for me to read the connection historically. And this last slide is showing you a more traditional sense of Japanese design, but these are all modern pieces, and just showing that the sensibility from the past is still very much a part of current Japanese design. So I have to say that our visit to Amsterdam was incredible, and very much hope everyone gets a chance to visit there.